Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Mozz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I've got a bit of a difficult video to make. So in the past few years it feels like people have been slowly getting more and more nihilistic and complacent about the fact that our future isn't particularly great. I mean, there's so many threats to our world at the moment. There's the threat of nuclear Armageddon, and that's an old hat one. Now more recently you've got stuff like AI, the impeding Give me a few seconds for the monetization thing. But you know the thing I'm talking about, with all the new leaders of the world and how they're a little bit, you know what I mean? So starts with N and it ends with I. But we'll talk about that once the 30-second mark is passed. So generally it seems like things aren't going in a particularly great direction. There hasn't been many lights at the end of any of these tunnels. It's just been endless darkness, it seems like, in the grander political sphere. Obviously there's little communities that you can make for yourself, and your own little local place might still have nice things in it, and there's still obviously nice things going on in the world. Kittens are still getting saved from trees, things like that. General nice wholesome little things are still happening, right? But it feels like, with regards to our attitude to the overall big problems of the day, I think because there's been this whole culture war thing for the last 10 years where, there's the left and the right, and, they both live in completely different worlds, right? And they both hate one another. And anytime there's a comment section with both, you just see that it just turns into absolute catastrophes of insults and stupid little memes that are kind of petty and just like ignoring one another's points and stuff like that. And for reference, I am on the left side of things, and I'm not trying to play the centrist here and like, ooh, both sides have good things to say and all that sort of stuff. No, I am firmly on the left sort of side of things. But in particularly in left-wing circles, I'm noticing more of a tendency towards just nihilism towards the future, just going like, everything's fucked, so why should we even bother, Like climate doomerism, for instance, like the whole threat of climate change coming on, and the temperature is going to be like 2.5 degrees above whatever it was before by the year 2050, and that's going to cause mass migration from hotter places to colder places, and weather events are going to become more extreme, and there's that very slight chance that the Gulf Stream will break, which will cause the UK to plunge to North American style temperatures in the winter, because in the winter in America it gets to like minus 30 at this latitude, right? Because right now London is on par with like Moscow and like Vancouver, as far as, I think it's more northern than Vancouver and slightly more than Moscow. I might be wrong on that, but it's really high up latitude wise, and it's really warm for where it is, all things considered. I know, ironic considering the background, and it is quite cold today. But look, the climate is changing. We have to accept that. But at the same time, we need to not be complacent and just be like, oh, what's the point? Why should we even bother with trying to stop climate change? It's going to happen. Why don't we all just like slip into the abyss because humans are worthless and we're causing so much harm to the planet and stuff. Maybe it'd be better if we're not here. That's all the stuff that you hear from like a suicidal person that is just like, on the edge, and they're having a bit of a mental break, and you're trying to talk to them and they're saying like, why am I even fucking here? I'm not doing anything. I'm not helping anyone in any significant way. And when you're in that situation where you're comforting that person, what do you say to them? You go, no, you're wrong on that. Your presence is nice. People are glad that you're here. People will be sad to see you go, right? And that is the case, I think, with humanity. I think if humanity did go, we would miss it. Obviously, it wouldn't be us that would be there to miss, and animals, we don't know if they have the conscious ability to miss humans. I mean, we know a dog can miss its master and stuff like that, and pets miss their owners and stuff, but I don't know if the animal kingdom would necessarily miss the Homo sapien, But at the same time, we should fight for a better future rather than trying to just ignore the fact that we are slipping into fascism and into a general climate catastrophe where there's going to be mass migration and more extreme weather events and stuff like that, where AI is getting more and more powerful exponentially, and quantum computing and intelligent AI conscious minds will have to start sort of dealing with all that sort of stuff, and eventually AI will start having to campaign for rights or whatever. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but generally I don't hear anyone saying that this future is full of sunshine and rainbows and all of us coming together and singing Kumbaya, right? I don't hear anyone saying that, but I think we would all agree, as much as, you know, the fact that we're not going to come together and sing Kumbaya, that's not going to happen. I like to think we can at least all agree that it would be nice if we did that. I think everyone generally, most people, bar psychopaths and stuff, want the world to be sort of better. Even if they're people that you really disagree with politically and you know, they're advocating for things that are harmful for like LGBT people or like Palestinians or whatever, and they're campaigning for hardships onto them. They're doing it because they think that by doing that they'll make more people's lives better. Like if they subjugate the minority, then they can uplift the majority. I think that's their idea, the approach. And whether they're right or wrong isn't the point of this video. The point of this video isn't to dunk on right-wingers or to clown on various sides and to be partisan in that sort of way. I just want to get across the fact that it seems like as we go into this unknown of the future with technology, you know, developing at rates that are just unbelievable. I mean, 15 years ago, would you believe that we were all going to be using smartphones? Right? Everyone uses a smartphone now. Even the most Luddite motherfuckers use smartphones, right? We've all got computers. We've all got these little devices around that have access to the internet and mobile data packages and all this sort of stuff. And we're all walking down these big, like, skyscraper-laden new builds that are all made of glass and they all look kind of futuristic. Everything looks like it's immediately becoming a sci-fi novel. And we need to try and make sure that it's as nice a sci-fi novel as possible and not like a 1984 or A Brave New World or something like that. And it's already kind of old hat and cliche to go, oh, we're becoming a bit like 1984. Like, I know someone will have heard that and gone into the comments and gone, oh, he's complaining about we're going to be in 1984, he's such a fucking idiot, couldn't you think of a better example? Is that the thing? Like, the fact they didn't think of a better example than 1984, or that they don't think that 1984 is happening, but like, authoritarianism is on the rise across the world, right? And we're getting more toward, like, away from the idea of freedom and liberty and all that kind of stuff, and more towards the idea of a controlled police state in various forms, right? And I'm not particularly keen on that. I don't think anyone is particularly keen on that, right? And I feel like instead of fighting each other and accepting it and being nihilistic about it, all we can do is just try and put as many of our differences aside as we can, whilst obviously not putting them all aside, because there are some things that we just can't, you know, let up on, like, I don't know, Palestine or trans rights or whatever. Like, you know, there's that whole quote of first they came for the socialists and I didn't bother speaking up because I'm not a socialist, and then they came for the whatevers and I didn't speak up because I'm not one of them, and then they came after me and there was no one left to speak up for me. It's that kind of thing, and we should speak up for marginalised people, right? And if you do come from a place of privilege like I do, I mean, like, I'm a 6'8", like, English white guy, right? Who and I'm pretty aware of that, like, and the privileges that come with that. Like, I'm pretty thankful to not be born in fucking, like, Nairobi or Johannesburg, right? It looks like shit. My mate went to Johannesburg recently. He told me about the stories there, and he heard an awful lot of fireworks going off. They weren't fireworks. Right? I'm glad I don't have to grow up in that kind of environment. I'm glad that I get to grow up in, like, you know, the suburbs and stuff like that. It's nice, right, to have this place of privilege. And I want as many people to have this point of privilege as possible going into the future. I want more people to be privileged rather than less. I want more people to have what I sort of grew up with. And I want less people to grow up in poverty or to grow up under totalitarian dictatorships. And less of that. Less less Turkmenistans, less North Koreas, less Chinas, and more Norways, Swedens and Finlands, please. Overall, is the way I'd like us to go into the future. And the only way we can do that is if we start to stand up for ourselves a little bit and stop being complacent. And it's very easy to be complacent, and it's very easy to become nihilistic and just make it all into a big fucking joke, right? But it's, at the same time, these are important matters. These are things that, you know, affect our lives and our children's lives and our grandchildren's lives, and we should try and fight for that and fight for the futures of the next generation and the generation to come after, because, you know, every generation likes to take the piss out of the generation that comes after them. It's like, you know, baby boomers take the piss out of millennials, and then millennials took the piss out of zoomers, and now the zoomers are making fun of the generation alphas with all their like, ooh, skibbity toilets and stuff. And it's just like, it's just a little bit of entertainment at the end of the day, that the generation alphas are going to grow up and go, look back and go, oh God, do you remember that skibbity toilet thing? And they'll go, oh yeah, I remember that. That was really weird, wasn't it? You know, it'll be one of those. It's not like it's the defining characteristic of everyone born after 2013, right? And so it's a little bit frustrating that we're all so splintered, we're all so divided, and that we're so, like, we are concerned about the future. Everyone is concerned about the future, but no one's, I don't know, I want to say no one's doing anything, but obviously people are, and it's just not being reported enough. It's that whole thing of like why climate protesters end up having to do shit like blocking the roads and stuff like that, because when they do try and do real good protests, like protesting the people that are actually causing the issues, like oil companies and stuff, they don't get the same news coverage. So I understand that people are going out and doing stuff, and I applaud them for it, but I feel like as a population, we need to be a bit more sincere about the future that we are sleepwalking into, because we are not prepared for what's to come. We're not prepared for the advent of AI. We're not prepared for the future of quantum computing. We're not prepared for the change and the rising of populism and fascism in the 21st century. We're not prepared for any of this stuff properly. And how do we prepare ourselves is a question that I can't answer. I feel like we just need to, one, stop being so fucking nihilistic about stuff, and two, I feel like we need to stop turning everything into irony and post-irony and post-irony, and just start being sincere about the things that are going on, because what's going on is fucked. Right? There's so many people that are being subjugated. There's the Uyghur people, there's the Palestinians, there's the fucking Boko Haram, there's all the, you know, LGBT people that are in America that now are having to worry. There's all the women that are in America after Roe v. Wade got shut down. There's all the shit going on in Russia. There's so much shit going on, right, that I can't even begin to name it all. There's the Papua New Guinean war that's been going on for however God knows long that's been going on. There's so much awful shit, so many people that are being subjugated, and so many people that have the ability to stand up for it that refuse, out of complacency, laziness, and an unwillingness to change, even if it feels, just because it feels slightly uncomfortable, even if it's for a better future for them and their children and their children's children. And I don't know how to approach it. I don't know what to do past this and any action to take. Yeah, we can all do fundraisers. I could stick a little fundraiser next to this video, but what's it gonna do? Say it raises like $1,000, right? That grand means nothing, because we have a huge wealth inequality going on in this world, where so much stuff could be solved by the people that have billions and billions of dollars. You know, I understand that they have it in stocks and stuff, but they don't have literally everything in the stocks. They do have some, you know, whatever the opposite of liquid capital. Hang on. Liquid is like, it's in the stock, so I guess it's solid capital. So they do have some solid capital. They have some power to do change, but they don't want to either, because they're similarly complacent and lazy and unwilling to change, partly for different reasons, because it benefits them what's going on with the increase in authoritarianism and all these new technological developments that we're dealing with. It benefits them. And I don't know what to do about the future. All I'm going to try and do is start being more sincere about the way that we're going, and trying to stop using irony to as a, you know, soothing balm over the wounds that, you know, our government and various companies are inflicting upon this people, the working class and even the middle class as well. You know, it's just fucked what's going on, and what's going on with the future, and how it doesn't seem like there's any scenario where it's all sunshine and rainbows at the end of this tunnel. It just seems like it's just tunnels as far as the eye can see. And I don't want us, humanity, to die in these tunnels. I want us to get out and frolic amongst the fields and sing Kumbaya. And look, I know it's a piss take sort of thing, oh, we all come together and say Kumbaya, but like, surely that would be a nice thing, right? That would be good. Could we all agree that that would be nice if we could all do that and all just get along? Like, I know we're not going to, I'm not naive, but surely we can all at least agree that it would be nice if we could get everyone together and just be happy. Surely that would be nice, even if it's not going to happen. And I have to keep reiterating that it's not going to happen, because someone will put in the comments, oh, it's not going to happen, it's never going to happen. I know, right? But could we not at least try and get as close to that as possible? Yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up really. So leave your comments below about your thoughts on the future. What do you think we can do to get to as good a future as possible? What action can the individual take? And whether you think that the individual is even responsible for it. I don't necessarily think that the individual is responsible for it, but you know, if there is anything that we can do, especially if it doesn't take much effort, then why not do it, you know? Sign a little petition here, go on a march here, donate some money here, whatever, I don't know. Yeah, so leave your comments about that. And if you agree with this video in general, or if you completely disagree with the points I'm making. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of the day. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of the life. Oh.